What's up, everybody? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. I think my camera's kind of dirty. It's a little better. Get this tweeted out. Lovely. You guys can hear me. Let's get this shared on Twitter so we can get all our folks in here and talk some Chargers. All right. It's Friday. We made it. A busy week. Anybody who subscribes to The Athletic knows how much I've been writing. Anybody that follows me on Twitter knows how much I'm tweeting. Anybody that's been watching knows that we've been doing this for about 45 minutes to an hour. Every single day, everything about this team covered, top to bottom. So, because we made it to the end of the week, I see got your coffee. It is 5 o'clock on a Friday, so it is not coffee. It is una cerveza. We got a little Boomtown Brewery out of downtown LA, a little Mexican-style lager. Got the T-shirt on. Friday. It's Friday. Happy hour. So cheers to everybody. If you got your beers, got your drinks out there, a little clink. How's my bracket? Bracket's doing pretty good. Got Loyola Chicago in my Final Four. They won today, so that's good. And I'm actually doing this other pool where you pick 2 games every round. It's like an eliminator pool. So I had Loyola winning, and then I had Villanova have them later, and you can't pick the same team twice. So excited to catch a lot of hoops this weekend after a busy week. Let me know what everyone's drinking in there. Ohio State did not screw me over. I have Texas Tech in my Elite Eight, so that was a win for me. Yeah, the taco question to Lindsley, yeah. I trying to humanize him. I think I was a little too aggressive how I came across with the taco question. What do we got? What are you guys drinking? Let me know. Ooh, Pliny the Elder. Shout out Anthony. That's my favorite beer. The only place I can find it in the LA area was at someplace in Malibu. They had it on tap there. Limoncello LaCroix. Does that have alcohol in it? Old fashioned, love it. Vodka soda with lemonade. Capri Sun. All right. We got a good amount of people in here for our Friday evening chat. People are rolling in. Figueroa Mountain Brewing Company, Hoppy Poppy. That sounds delicious. Where's Figueroa Mountain Brewing Company? Red Bull, someone's got some work to do. Sweetwater for 20. Can't go wrong there. Michelada. I got to hit up Gil. Gil's got to get me. I've never really had a Michelada. Gil's got to get me a Michelada. Complete my transition into Mexican food fully. Drinking the Brandon Staley Kool-Aid. Oh, that reminds me. Someone called me the Walmart Elvis Presley yesterday. I forgot to tweet that out. If you're in, whoever called me the Walmart Elvis Presley, if you're in the chat, let me know. That was like the funniest thing I've read all week. All right. Should we get to some Chargers questions? Got to get them out of like real news today. I see Deschutes Porter. Love Deschutes. I haven't had their porter before. Rate my chef skills. Pretty good. That's my girlfriend. I'm the chef. I'm the chef in the apartment. All right. So yeah, not too much to get to in terms of news today. We had our pressers with Matt Filer and Corey Lindsley earlier today. Not a ton to glean from that. Filer said that he's been told he's going to play guard. They haven't told him if it's going to be on the left side or the right side, probably keeping that flexible, depending on who's available. So that was the first bit of news to come out of that. And then, Corey Linsley mentioned a couple times that one of the reasons he signed with the Chargers was obviously Brian Bulaga, and he had conversations with Brian Bulaga because they played together with the Packers. You did not hurt my feelings about the hair. The hair was on point yesterday. That's facts. Just the hair's a little wild right now. I need a haircut. And also, shout out PLL, my boy RJ Kaminsky. He does all their social and marketing. Hooked me up with this lid. It's kind of a fresh hat. So shout out to PLL. They're doing good things over there. It's a good product. I was a lacrosse player growing up. More of a baseball player, but when I was younger, I played lacrosse, and it's a fun sport to watch. All right. So, yeah, Linsley. So Linsley in his presser was saying that, he was talking to Brian Bulaga. They played together with the Packers. Brian Bulaga was saying a lot of great things about Staley, about the new staff, about the organization, et cetera, et cetera. And they talked about sort of what the offensive scheme was going to look like. And Linsley said that, he was told by Bulaga that there's going to be some familiarity with what the Packers were doing under Matt LaFleur. Now, for those who haven't been reading me or whatever, LaFleur is in the Mike Shanahan disciple tree. Like that's, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Matt LaFleur, all under the Mike Shanahan tree because they all coached together in Washington in 2012 when Mike Shanahan was the coach there. The three of them are now head coaches, and they all run a variation of the Shanahan offense, which is a lot of what the Chargers were doing last year. Anthony Lynn played for Mike Shanahan in the Broncos in the 90s, and they implemented a lot of those kinds of concepts. It's a lot of play action. It's a lot of bootlegs. It's a lot of quarterback movement, and it's a lot of wide zone run schemes, blocking schemes, right? And, wide zone, just a quick overview of what it is. You're not blocking a specific man like you would in a gap scheme. You're blocking a zone. So basically what you'll see when you have a wide zone is all five offensive linemen will block in sort of one direction, either like to the left or to the right. And then the running back will sort of run horizontally and then make one cut upfield. That's basically the essence of a wide zone offense. And you see the Vikings do a lot of it. That's the scheme that Dalvin Cook has had a lot of success in. But that's basically the idea behind the offense. And so that tells us, Linsley saying that there's going to be a lot of familiarity, tells us that the Chargers offense will have a lot of these concepts, which we kind of knew, right? Staley working with Sean McVay last year is obviously going to take things from that offense. They hired Shane Day as their quarterbacks coach, the former 49ers quarterbacks coach who worked under Kyle Shanahan. So they're going to take things from there. The new tight ends coach, Kevin Koger, he was with the Packers coaching under Matt LaFleur. So you knew based on who they were hiring, they're going to take bits and pieces of this kind of scheme. And then they're also going to take stuff from the Saints, obviously, with Joe Lombardi and some of those concepts. But it was interesting to hear Linsley say that because we haven't really gotten a window into sort of what the scheme is going to be, what's going to be the fabric, the backbone of the scheme. And so there will be a lot of carryover from what the Chargers were doing last year. Anybody that watched Chargers football in 2020, that's what they were doing with Justin Herbert. It was a lot of quarterback movement. It was a lot of wide zone, bootlegs, and that's what he does well. Justin Herbert is going to have the most success in an offense where they can get him on the move. And obviously we all saw what he can do with his legs and then throwing in off-platform situations. So those are my two big takeaways from the pressers. And we'll see what happens in terms of the offensive line over the rest of free agency and the draft. We talked about this all week, and I wrote about it this morning. Larry Warford makes a ton of sense. They could get him on a reasonable deal because he took last year off. He's familiar with Joe Lombardi and some of the Saints concepts, and he was playing at a really high level before the Saints cut him. He was like a really solid starter, above average starter. He was playing at a Pro Bowl level. He made 3 straight Pro Bowls before they cut him, and he still isn't 30 years old. That's a guy that makes a ton of sense to me. So I would keep an eye on that. But those were the takeaways from the pressers. And then just before we got on here, Anthony Harris signed 1 year, $5 million with the Jets. Do I have that right? Let's see. I tweeted it out. Eagles. Sorry, guys. 1 year, $5 million to the Eagles. Now, if you've been reading me, you know that he's been in my top 10 pretty much all week after Rayshawn Jenkins signed with the Jags. That's a true free safety. Our Sheil Kapadia had him ranked in the top 25 free agents available and he ends up signing for only $5 million. The Chargers have a need at free safety. They really need that kind of center field type safety guy. So what does that tell you? The more this drags on, right, the more safeties that come off the board, that tells me that they see potential in Nasir Adderley. And they being not only the personnel staff that drafted him, but the new coaching staff that has come in, right? That's Brandon Staley, who's obviously running the show. That's Ronaldo Hill, the defensive coordinator. That's Derek Ansley, the secondary coach. I think they need a third safety just based on the packages that Brandon Staley uses. If Derwin James is going to be in that John Johnson role from last year with the Rams, he's going to be moving all over the place, including playing some nickel corner, playing some linebacker. That would be a smart way to use him. And Brandon Staley is all about maximizing his all-world players, getting the absolute most out of them. It's what he did with Aaron Donald. It's what he did with Jalen Ramsey. So they're going to move Derwin James all over the place because he can do so many things. That's how you're going to get the most out of him. So if you're moving Derwin James all over the place, then you need another safety to fill in that two-deep shell. That's really the spine of this defense. So maybe they like the safety crop. Maybe they think they can get a value safety in the third round, right? And that could be a guy that's sort of your rotational safety that'll come in when you want to do some different things with Derwin James, when you want to have three safeties in the field. I see Malik Hooker in the chat. Sure. Maybe they like him. Maybe they like what they've seen on tape, and they're not as worried about the Achilles injury as I am. You know, we talked about this yesterday. I know Eric Fisher has been in my top 10. There just aren't that many left tackles available. You can't just go on the street, and sign a starting left tackle, which is why I'd be more willing to take a risk on that guy. In the draft, there's no guarantee you're going to get a starting left tackle at 13. It's much harder to find that player, that left tackle, than it is to find a rotational free safety. There are guys. You could sign a guy as a free agent. You could draft a guy in the middle rounds that can come in and play 40% of the snaps as a rotational third safety, right? So the positional value matters there. And that's why I would take a risk on Eric Fisher, where I wouldn't rely on Malik Hooker if I really think that third safety is going to have a significant role. So that's where we're at. I mean, I would have done that deal for $5 million. The Chargers have the space to do it. I updated my cap sheet because the draft picks came in officially, and the NFL had initially put out the wrong comp picks for each team. So it only adjusted it by like $400. And then I added Ty Long's cap hit to my sheet. They re-signed him. I'm still waiting on the numbers for Badgley and Faison in terms of what their contracts are going to be. So I'll update it when those come in, but those are not included in this. I have them at $14.89 million in spending space, which, as you guys know, as we've talked about, includes all the necessary expenses that you could possibly incur, rookie compensation, in-season budgeting, all that kind of stuff. So that's all we got in terms of news today. So let's just jump into questions. Start from the beginning here. Okay, first question from Devin Moore. Hey, Pop, I need the link for the $1 athletic subscription again, please. Well, wouldn't you know, in the description below this video, there's a link. If you click that link, you get access to the athletic for $1 a month. Now, I know I've been saying on here that it's a year-long thing. I guess that was wrong. My apologies. It's 6 months. You get $1 a month for 6 months. So test it out, $6 for 6 months. I promise you, you're going to end up sticking with us. I promise. I'm so sure. The Daniel Popper guarantee. All right. How long does the free agency period continue after today? You can sign guys at any time. There's no window of where you can sign it. You can only start officially signing guys when the new league year begins, but then you can sign guys through the end of the regular season. So there's no real period per se, but guys start getting signed and your pool of players shrinks. So it's smarter to get your deals done early, or else your available talent diminishes. Worried about our depth. We're losing so many players. Lamp, Feeney, Rochelle. Those guys are replaceable ultimately. So they got 9 picks in the draft, and the personnel department is very confident in their ability to draft players. So I think that they're going to rely on those 9 draft picks to fill their depth. And like I've been saying all week, they got their big things off the to-do list checked. They got the 2 starting offensive linemen. They re-signed Michael Davis. They made decisions on Hunter Henry and Rayshon Jenkins, and they signed a starting tight end. So now there's nothing that's overly pressing, right? They need a 3rd corner, but they could address that in the draft. They need a free safety, but they could address that in the draft. They need some D-line depth, but they can address that in the draft, right? So there's nothing that's super pressing where it's like they have to make this move as soon as possible. So to answer the question, no, I'm not worried about it. Between 9 draft picks and the number of depth pieces that'll be available when the dust settles next week, I think they'll be absolutely fine. Do you expect the Chargers to make another move by Sunday? Maybe. But I mean, right now, like the guy that is causing a lot of buzz, obviously, is Kyle Fuller. He makes sense for a number of reasons that I detailed both in written word and in spoken word on here. He played his best football when Brandon Staley was on Vic Fangio's staff in 2018 with the Bears, his defensive staff. Staley's going to run a similar scheme. So it's just about, do the Chargers want to be paying 3 cornerbacks veteran contracts? That's a lot of resources to allocate to one position, but as I've been saying all week, they can do that because they have Justin Herbert on a rookie deal. So they have to wait on Fuller. The Bears, it seems, because they didn't release him today based on the transaction wire, it seems like they're going to try and trade him, which I don't understand why this is happening with teams. The Raiders did it with Gabe Jackson and Rodney Hudson, where they were like, someone leaked that he was getting released, probably the agent, and then they lose all their leverage. So, but in that case, then you're informing the player that you're going to release him when you're actually still trying to trade him. So why are you informing the player that you're going to release him? If you're going to try and trade him, you should probably keep that to yourself so it doesn't get leaked, so you don't lose your leverage. That's what's happening with the Bears right now with Fuller. Everyone knows they're gonna eventually have to release him because it's a cap crunch situation. So I don't know why anyone would give up a draft pick at this point. You'd have to take on $13 million in base salary. If you sign him on the free agent market, there's a report from Ryan O'Halloran today, the Broncos writer, that an executive told him it'll be $8 to $10 million in average annual value. That seems about right, which means the cap hit could be as low as 6, for 2021. So I don't know why anyone would trade for him. I mean, it's inevitability at this point. But so if they're going to make a move by Sunday, I would guess it'd be in pursuit of Kyle Fuller. They have to wait 24 hours now, effectively, for him to be released so that they can actually go after him on the open market. I don't expect them to trade for him. My guess is they'll sit tight, but who knows? They got the space, so it's certainly a possibility. Who are the agents you feel free agents you feel the Chargers are going to target in the next few days? Do you expect anyone tonight? Kind of just got into that, but if you want a full list, say, I don't know, a top 10 remaining free agents, Chargers focused, right? Wouldn't that be pretty cool? Well, click the link in the description. My full top 10 is right there. $1. $1 a month, you're in, you get my full top 10. We've got tackles in there. We've got corners in there. We've got safeties in there. We got 2 guards in there now that I updated it. So click the link right there. Easy as pie. Probably easier than pie. You'd have to pay more than $1 for a slice of pie. So it's not easy as pie. It's easier than pie. See what I did there? All right. What else we got here? Dory Jackson linked to a bunch of teams, but not the Chargers. So here's the thing with the Chargers. You're not going to get a ton of leaks from them because that's just how the organization operates. So, could they be linked to a player and it doesn't become public before that player is signed? Absolutely. Now, a lot of that stuff is coming from agents. So I was a little bit surprised to see that they're not linked to him, but I wouldn't necessarily label that as, okay, they're not in on him, just because they are very tight-lipped about how they go about business. All right. Let's go down this. All right. Let's go down to the bottom. Start selling popper gear. No one's going to buy popper gear. Wait for the chat. Maybe somebody will buy popper gear. Who knows? Pop slinging the Athletic. Yeah, I am slinging the Athletic because it's an amazing product. And that's also my job, I would kick the tires on Geno Atkins. Saw that in the chat. What's going on in this Oklahoma State game? This is kind of big for me. I got Liberty in, I think, the Sweet 16, 12-game winning streak entering the NCAA tournament. Oh boy, 4-point game. All right, let's keep these Chargers questions going. Who do you see pairing with Bosa at other edge rusher? So initially, it's going to be Chenna and Nwosu, right? And so we kind of talked about this yesterday, but the previous coaching staff just felt like Chenna's productivity fell off when they gave him more snaps. So that is why you saw him in more of a rotational role. Like when he got the opportunity to start, when Melvin Ingram had some injuries, they felt like his productivity wasn't the same as when he was getting, 30% of the snaps, less than that maybe, and coming in on very specific pass rushing situations. The new coaching staff could feel differently and feel like they can get them a lot more out of him and have them on the field all the time. So that's really depends on what the coaching staff thinks about Chenna Nwosu. But I think initially it'll be Joey Bosa on one side as an edge rusher. It'll be Chenna Nwosu on the other side as an edge rusher. And I think they can find a rotational edge rushing piece in the draft. They have 4 top 100 picks, right? So, typically how personnel executives view the draft, it's like you can find starters in the first 3 rounds. Like those are the picks where you're going to be able to find sort of cornerstone starters, right? After that, it's much more of a crapshoot. So having 4 picks in that top 100 in the first 3 rounds, that's pretty big. And the Chargers, if they go about this the right way and they hit on these picks, could hypothetically get 4 starters out of those 4 picks. So I think in that 3rd round, either at 77 or 97, they can look for a rotational edge rushing piece. And then you got some players to work with in terms of your pass rush. Someone asked what I'm drinking. I got about this earlier, but there's some more people in here now. This is Boomtown Brewery Mexican style lager. Super good. I had a buddy bring it over a couple weeks ago when I made ribs, which I overcooked a little bit. People on Twitter made me feel bad about that. Well, let me go back, actually. I didn't overcook them. Well, maybe so the meat itself was not overcooked, but they were a little too charred. Like I left them on the grill. When I finished them on the grill, I left them on a little too long. So there's a little bit more char than I would have thought. But my friends ate all of them, and they told me that it tasted good. So I trust my friends, unless they're lying to make me feel better, which I guess is a possibility. I'll take a Knicks question. Do you still feel Slater will be gone by 13? So I thought for sure that he was going to be gone at 13. But then we just did a beat writer mock draft, and something interesting happened. I'm not going to give away too much because I want you guys to go read that when it comes out on Tuesday. But what I can say is that I don't think the Niners are going to be in the tackle market in the draft now because they re-signed Trent Williams. So that kind of changes the structure of that first round. Now you throw in the fact that the Bengals, Alonzo at the deadline. No, thank you. That's the last Knicks question I'm taking. I'm not trading for Alonzo Ball. Let's get back to the Chargers. So the Bengals go out and they sign Riley Reif, right, as to be their starting left tackle. Now it's only a 1-year deal, right? So maybe they're still targeting Sewell, and maybe they move John Williams inside to guard, maybe. So they could still be going after Sewell. But let's say there's a scenario now, based on how free agency has gone, where the Bengals feel like they're okay at tackle and want to go with another position. At that point, considering how many quarterback needy teams there are and that there are 4 real solid guys that people are going to go after, did the Chargers think about trying to trade up for Penney Sewell? It's going to take some capital. And so as we talked about this week, it kind of goes against their organizational philosophy to mortgage the future and trade a lot of draft picks. But If the Bengals aren't taking a tackle and the Chargers get wind of that, and based on their research, think, okay, maybe Sewell falls to 6, 7, 8, right? So I think there's a much better after what's happened in free agency. There's a much better chance now of Slater getting to 13. And there are, as I've said, there are like offensive line people that I trust who think that Slater is the best tackle prospect in the draft. Yeah, Chase to the Bengals. That right. Like if they feel like they're set at tackle, maybe the Reef signing is to allow them to draft Jamar Chase, who is going to be a stud. That guy's so good. Right. Like, Jamar Chase, maybe they want Kyle Pitts, a lot of buzz about that guy. So, all right, I'm scrolling back here looking for questions. You guys love Jadeveon Clowney. I've talked a lot about why the Chargers aren't going to sign him. I put the chances at 0%. Yeah, we talked all week about Orlando Brown. I don't think the Chargers are going to get him unless they give him a first-round pick, because the Ravens can, based on this new CBA, the Ravens can force him to play. Thoughts on paying running backs? I thought the Eckler deal was a great deal. That deal made a lot of sense to me. They extended him before he hit the open market. They got him at a great price, and that's a guy who can do a lot on the field, right? Offensively, in terms of skill position player, there's nothing Austin Eckler can't do. He can run out of under center formations. He can run out of shotgun formations. He can do the screen game. He can line up in the slot. He can line up outside. He can run go routes. He can run slant routes. He can run in-breaking routes, out-breaking routes. Anything you need him to do, he can do, and he's fantastic with the ball in his hands. So in that sense, you're paying for more than a running back, and you got him at a fantastic deal. Now, paying for 2 running backs on veteran deals makes no sense. And overpaying for a backup running back makes no sense, because you can find guys in the draft. You can sign guys off the street, right? Like, I have no idea what the Raiders are doing. Like, someone tell me what the Raiders are doing, because it makes no sense. Like, usually when you see a team in free agency this time of year doing stuff and you're like, what the hell are they doing? It means that they're tanking their organization. Obviously not purposely, but they're making bad decisions. Like when we all saw Bill O'Brien, like making these trades for Conley, for David Johnson, dealing, in the Hopkins trade, everyone's like, what are they doing? They must have some master plan. No, it wasn't some master plan. They were just making horrific decisions and overestimating their ability to coach, right? So I don't know what the Raiders are doing. The Kenyon Drake signing makes no sense to me. You've got Josh Jacobs. That's as close to a workhorse back as you'll have in the NFL. Just get a guy in the draft. Bring in a 5th-round pick, 6th-round pick. You're fine, Even if he gets injured, you can sign a guy off the street. Like, finding a backup running back is not tough. So that's sort of where I fall. Now, giving a running back like a Gurley contract, a Zeke Elliott contract, I'm not doing that if I'm running a team. They just don't provide enough value, But Austin Eckler specifically, I think he provides a ton of value because of how much he does on the field. And I think they got him at a great price. So if you're going to pay a running back, pay him early and get him on a good value deal. That's sort of where I'm at on that. Yeah, they're not drafting Najee Harris, so 0% chance. Feels like there's a lot of unfamiliar and new this year. Do you have any idea yet how competitive they'll be? I got to wait to see what happens with the offensive line. Simple as that. But based on what I've gathered, Brandon Staley is a very, very intelligent, very forward-thinking coach. And I think he's going to get the most out of this defense. So we'll see what happens offensively with the offensive line. I got to wait and see how they sort of shore that up and what they do with the talent. But I'm pretty confident at this point that the Chargers got a really good coach, just based on everyone I've talked to. How come other cap sites have them at around 20 million? So people keep coming at me about this. I do my own math where I factor in things about the Chargers that I know, right? So the people that when you're seeing a cap space on a site, they're not factoring rookie compensation, which I'm factoring in. They're not factoring in the $7 million in-season budget buffer that I'm factoring in, that I know the Chargers will have every single year just based off how Telesco operates. So the number I'm giving you is using information that I know from my reporting on the Chargers to give you a cap number that I think they will spend. Now, you can keep telling me that I'm wrong based on Spotrac or whatever you're using. That's fine, but I'm telling you how much space they have. Now, it's a rough ballpark estimate for me based on sometimes I have to project cap hits based on contracts I'm seeing. I'm guesstimating in-season budgeting, all of that kind of stuff. But when I give you a number, I'm factoring in things that no other site is factoring in because I know things about the Chargers that no other site knows about. So the Chargers do that every year. So it's not. So here's the thing. It's not just like, okay, we're going to use all $7 million to make in-season moves. We're going to keep that $7 million in case we need to make in-season moves, right? And then worst case scenario, we don't use it and it carries over to the next year. So Tom Telesco is always going to have a pretty sizable carryover number because that gives you more space. It gives you more wiggle room for the following season, right? So when a general manager is making decisions, it's not just, okay, what does it mean for 2021? Because the teams that make short-sighted decisions like that, those are bad organizations. The good organizations, the ones that have good GMs, are thinking long-term. So it's not just about 2021, right? It's about 2022 and 2023 and 2024 and even 2025, right? You're thinking about those things. So you're not making your decision just for this year. All right, keep those questions coming. We got to pay Derwin next season. No, you don't. He's currently entering his 4th season. This May, you can pick up his 5th-year option, and you can make him play on the 5th-year option and pay him after that. So you don't necessarily have to pay him next season. But if he comes out and has a great season, they love him as a player, obviously. He's great. And if he can come back and show that he's healthy and can play a full season and he can return to his rookie form, I would expect them to pay him around the same time they paid Joey, right? They got that deal done with Joey as he was entering his 5th-year option year. That happened like right before training camp started in July. I would expect a similar thing to happen with Derwin James as long as he can stay on the field. But if he has another injury-plagued season and misses a lot of time, you're probably going to want him to play on that 5th-year option year, it's not going to be a crazy number. Safeties aren't going to make a ton of money just because it's all based on like what the franchise tag is based on, like what the top 10 position contracts of the position are. So if he can't play and he gets injured again, then you make him play on that 5th-year option year and see if he can do it the next year. But the Chargers, for whatever reason, aren't worried. They're pretty convinced that he's a cornerstone player. I'm worried because he's now missed 2 seasons with significant injuries. So I need to see him on the field if I'm going to commit money to him. How much do you think that extension would cost? That I can't predict that right now, just because he hasn't played. So right now, the extension wouldn't be worth much because he hasn't played at all. You know what he can be when he's on the field, but a lot of it is, are you going to be able to rely on this player if you're giving him a big contract? So right now, he's not going to, reset the market at safety. He's not going to get a Landon Collins contract or a Budda Baker contract right now because he hasn't been on the field. But if he has an all-pro season this year, all of a sudden, yes, now he's in that conversation. He's going to get a $100 million safety contract. So it depends. All right. With the re-signing, do you see the Bengals taking an OT in the first round? I just talked about that. But I think the signing makes it more likely that they wouldn't take a tackle and potentially go with the skill position player. That's the Cliff Notes version. Wrap Derwin and bubble wrap until the season starts. I would do that. I was thinking about this the other day. Like there is a 0% chance I would let him touch the field during training camp. I just wouldn't do it. It's not worth it. I mean, I still haven't been able to see him play. I mean, I saw him 5 games at the end of 19. I'm entering my 3rd year covering the team. 2 seasons I've covered. So I've only got to see him play 5 games. And that was coming off that fractured foot. So I don't think that was peak Derwin. So trust me, guys, I'm as excited as you are to watch the guy play. He's a freak. He's incredible. And when he's playing at a high level, he's a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. So they need him to be healthy if they're going to contend, you know? So yeah, I would not let him touch the field during training camp. All right, keep those questions coming. We're wrapping this up when I finish this beer. I got like 2 sips left, so I'll take them slowly. Top 3 breakout candidates. I talked about this the other day. I think the 3 guys are Joshua Kelly on offense, and then Nasir Adderley and Chenna Nwosu on defense. The one guy that like really could have a huge year is Chenna. Contract year, that matters. And like, look what the Rams did with Leonard Floyd. Look what Staley did with Leonard Floyd. That guy was like a meh edge rusher. All of a sudden, 10.5 sacks, and he gets paid $64 million. I could see that happening with Chenna. Now, I know the Chargers aren't giving Chenna $64 million, but I could see that, right? Teams are keying on Joey, and Chenna is able to really spread his wings and break out and have the kind of edge rushing, pass rush productivity season that everyone's sort of been waiting for after he had that big play in the playoffs in 18 against the Ravens. Happier times for you guys, right? Playoff victories. It's my fault. Pauper curse. Do you guys all know about the Pauper curse? I see Derwin James. I wouldn't consider Derwin James a breakout candidate. Like, he already broke out. He was a first team All-Pro as a rookie. Like, everyone knows what he's capable of. I would consider a breakout candidate someone who hasn't put up those kinds of numbers. Oh, you want to know? You guys want to know? Let me know. You want to know about the Pauper curse? Hey, that's a positive comment. You joined and we got Herb, so bless you, right? So it can't be that bad. Okay, the curse. So I have been covering the NFL. This is my 5th season covering the NFL. I have never covered an NFL team where the offensive coordinator has kept his job. 5 seasons, never covered an NFL team where an offensive coordinator has kept his job. So 16 was with the Jets, and Chan Gailey retired after the season, but he was forced out because he ended up taking the Dolphins job and was coordinating the offense under Tua. 17, Johnny Morton, a John Gruden disciple, took over as offensive coordinator with the Jets. He was fired after the season. 2018, I covered the Jaguars. Nate Hackett fired midseason. 2019, I take over the Chargers beat. And you guys all know what happened that year. Ken Wisenhunt fired midseason. 2020, cover the Chargers. Shane Steichen gets fired along with Anthony Lynn after the season. So, what does that mean for Joe Lombardi? I'm hoping that the curse ends this year. I am. Because obviously I don't like when anyone loses their job. And hey, frankly, it would be nice to cover a winner for once. Because every team I've covered has been just dreadful. Just dreadful. So there you go. That's the Pauper curse. That's a blessing, though. No win. You guys are cold. What's going on with the stall in free agency? I wouldn't call it a stall. Like, I don't know if you guys are like going through, or I shouldn't say you guys, because you got some people get on me about it, but some people have been a little frustrated with the fact that they're not signing somebody every single day. That's not how this works. Target specific guys. And the fact that they made 3 big signings on day 1, like, that's abnormal, especially for this team and how they operate. So be patient, all right? I can guarantee you they're going to make more signings. Now, are they going to be big name guys that you know who they are as soon as you see the name? Maybe, maybe not, right? But they have enough space to keep making moves, and you want to make sure they're smart moves. You want to make sure they're smart moves like signing Jared Cook. Instead of giving Kyle Rudolph $8 million a year, you get Jared Cook for $4.5 million. Right? Like, you want to make sure that you're not overpaying for guys. Oh, yeah. So this is actually a question. I'm not a Chargers fan. Let's be very clear about that. I'm a reporter, so I cover the team objectively. I have no skin in the game. I have no bias. I am a reporter. And I don't root for any NFL team, for those that are asking. Oh, my God. The Navy jerseys are not elite. I'm going to see this number. I got 231 people in here right now. We're going to start talking about the Navy jerseys. It's going to drop to like 3. There it goes. It's already plummeting. Like, I don't think the Navy jerseys are an atrocity, right? But there are better uniforms. Both powder blue uniforms, both white uniforms, and the royal uniforms are better than the Navy's. And I won't budge. I will not budge from this take. This is a firm take. They are the worst uniforms the Chargers have. Oh, my God. Honestly, if you guys didn't react the way that you did every time I talked about the Navy uniforms, I wouldn't do it all the time. But you guys go absolutely crazy every time I talk about this. I am an objective reporter. Objective reporters can have uniforms. Just because you have opinions doesn't mean you're not objective. My opinions are objective. I take the facts and I give you an opinion based off those facts, but I'm not swayed one way by any biases. Flaccid take. I've never seen that adjective used to describe a take. I won't back down. All right, let's get back to some football talk. Uniforms. We're never going to agree on this, guys. I'm telling you right now. We're never going to agree. Let's get back to some football. All right, Alejandro Villanueva. Sure. I think that makes some sense. But like I've been saying, the more this goes on, the more I get the sense that they're going to look for the left tackle in the draft, especially if they're getting us the sense, or if the Chargers get the sense that there aren't that many tackle needy teams ahead of them, and they think that, and they like Slater, and they think Slater's going to fall to 13, or they think they could swing a trade to move up a couple spots. I think that makes more sense. Because like we talked about yesterday, right? Then you get to a point where you have your rookie or your quarterback on a rookie deal. You'd have your left tackle on a rookie deal. And those are two very highly paid positions that you'd have massive discounts on in terms of your contract. And that would give you the flexibility to spend elsewhere, right? Maybe re-sign Mike Williams, right? To an extension. Maybe sign a third quarterback in free agency right now. Maybe Kyle Fuller. Quiddy Pie at 13. I just don't think they can go edge rusher that high. They have bigger needs currently. We'll see what happens in free agency. I saw a good question up here. Give us your mock. So my next mock, I have a mock up there right now. And there's a helicopter. Got my window open. It's nice out. There's a mock up there right now from about a month ago, but that won't be updated with like free agency stuff. So my next mock will be coming out March 29th, which will be a week from Monday. I don't know. Is that right? Let's look at the calendar. Yeah, a week from Monday, my mock 2.0 will come out. That will be with an updated, basically a mock draft using and taking into account all of the free agent acquisitions to the depth chart. And so that'll be a little bit closer to what you're going to see in the draft. And basically how I do the offseason is I do 4 mocks. I do one right before the combine starts. I do one right after free agency. I do one early April where I get into possible trade opportunities. And then I do one right before the draft. And that one is my closest prediction to what I think the Chargers will do. And to give myself a little pat on the back for those people who still have not subscribed and want to know, hey, are these mock drafts any good? I, despite what Tom Telesco said, predicted the Chargers taking a linebacker in the first 3 rounds. So I don't know if anyone else had that in Chargers world. Favorite taco spot? So I did taco rankings 2 years ago. Sonora Town in downtown LA. Best tacos in Los Angeles I've had, and it's not really close. Number 2 is Leo's Taco Truck. They have locations in like around Hollywood. That's like your authentic Alpha store. So those are, if you're looking for good LA tacos, those are the 2 spots. And then honestly, like I just like going to street taco places. Like I live in Venice, and there's a street taco place right on Lincoln Boulevard that does really good. Guisado's another good one. I believe they were 5th in my rankings. Guisado's is fantastic. A different style of taco though. You know, like the Guisado's tacos are, you know, like stewed meats. So it's a little bit different, but extremely tasty. So I was down in San Diego a few months ago. I tried to go to Tacos El Gordo, and the line was too long. And I had to get home for work, so I couldn't go there. But I'm going to try that. The place I went to in San Diego was the taco stands. Those were fire. Those were good. Has Telesco really had O-line whiffs? Yeah, he's had plenty of them. He drafted TJ Fluker. He drafted Dan Feeney in the 3rd round. He drafted Forrest Lamp in the 2nd round. So, yeah, 100% he's had O-line whiffs. Yeah, taco stand's good. I like them. Yeah. I love the Guisado style tacos. The braised stewed meats, those are mwah. And they also have like a really good like fried shrimp taco there. Fire. Favorite stadium in the NFL that isn't SoFi? Do you guys actually want the answer to this question? Because you might get mad at me. I love Arrowhead. Arrowhead is my favorite NFL stadium. It's just an excellent place to watch a football game. You don't like the striped shirt? I kind of like it. I rock it with the bomber. I'm full LA. Where am I from originally? I'm from about an hour north of New York City in Connecticut. Not a Chiefs fan. Not a Chiefs fan. Just love Arrowhead. All right, we got any more Chargers questions for me? Obviously not a lot going on today. I think we got into pretty much everything. I don't think Jalen Watkins is the type of player you'd want as like a full-time rotational safety. I love him as a player. He does a lot in terms of his versatility, but he's more of a depth piece. I know. I need to try burrito tacos. I saw that on TikTok. Those things look incredible. Yeah, Eckler loves playing at Arrowhead. Yeah, every player loves playing at Arrowhead. I mean, it's just an incredible. I don't know how many of you guys have been there, but it's just a fantastic place to watch a football game. Next positions of need in free agency. I think tackle. I think guard. I think cornerback. I think safety. I think edge rusher. Those are the 5. Analytics guy. Yeah, they hired a full-time analytics staffer last year in their football research department. He kind of founded their football research department. He does a lot of modeling and gives that stuff straight to Telesco. But they don't have any plans, at least from what Telesco said in his presser, they don't really have any plans of fleshing that department out. I think they're sort of comfortable with where they're at. So we'll see. You know, the Ravens, in terms of in-game analytics that are fed to the coach, you know, the Ravens kind of set up this operation where they had like a 25-year-old Yale economics major graduate who was feeding win probability numbers directly to John Harbaugh. Now, Lynn said that he had something similar to that. He said that in a press conference. I'm not convinced that was actually the case based on his decision-making. It's possible that was happening and he was just ignoring the information a lot, frequently. I think that's on the table, but we'll see how Brandon Staley wants to set it up. I know he's a numbers guy. You know, I know he likes the information, but based on his comments, it also sounds like he is a bit of a feel guy. So Darius Swinton he's the special teams coach, but he's going to really spearhead their in-game decision-making. That's what he did in Arizona with Cliff Kingsbury. And they sort of had a situation where it was Darius Swinton, who was like the football guy, focusing on time management. Then they had an analytics guy who was feeding the win probabilities from the model. And then they had Cliff Kingsbury in the conversation too. And they sort of had this triumvirate of people that were helping make the decisions. I don't think you necessarily have to do what the Ravens do. If I was running an organization, that's what I would do to make sure that I'm always on top of what the numbers are saying and what the models are saying. But as long as you are factoring in the numbers into your decision and you have people that are on top of time management and not just making the right decisions in the game, but preparing the right way and knowing that sometimes it's okay to take a timeout with more than 1 minute remaining in a half for a fourth quarter, right? As long as you're focused on it and you know its importance and you're putting in the preparation to make sure that you're making the right decisions, then that's important and that's okay. It's just a focus on it that's essential, and being open to new information and open to the win probability models and open to applying them, right? All right, that was a good question. A little analytics talk. Any idea what the guy from Northwestern's role is? He's like a administration type guy. He's not going to be involved with analytics despite what was reported. Pop, show us your dog. He's sleeping on the couch. He's a basset. He's a sleepy guy. And he'll get mad at me if I wake him up. This guy, who are you? Great Greg Root. You've just been commenting on my looks the whole time. We're here to talk Chargers. Who cares if I have a beard? Who cares if I wear a striped shirt? You're projecting, my guy. Oh, you're from Milford? Shout out Milford. I'm from New Canaan. All right, guys. Juanita Lewis, why are you commenting boring over and over again? I got to get in the chat. I got to get these trolls out of here, man. All right. Any more questions? Yeah, I wish I could grow a beard like Filer, man. No chance. Not yet, at least. All right, guys. Any more questions? Chargers questions? Get them in real quick. I'm going to go enjoy my Friday evening watching B-ball. All right. Trade it for Penney Sewell. It's going to take a lot. I would say probably not, unless I think Sewell is going to fall. Best option and backup running back. I think they have their backup running backs already, Justin Jackson and Joshua Kelly. I don't see them using one of their late round picks on a running back, but that could change. New Haven. Shout out New Haven. Frank Pepe's Pizza. Anybody from Connecticut, worth the trip to New Haven for Frank Pepe's, man. That pizza is so good. Oh, my God. I'm just thinking about it right now. Trade Kaiser White for a pick? Nah. I think they're going to need Kaiser as depth at inside linebacker with Denzel Perryman gone. I also picked San Diego State over Syracuse. When is that game? Is that tonight? Let's look. Yeah, 6:40. All right. Go SDSU, man. Return man on the roster. So Nas Adderley was doing a good job kick returning. Joe Reed is a kick returner. And then KJ Hill did a fine job. Kaiser White is not a bum. He's not. He's been injured, but he has value. And his speed, his tackling. Go watch the tape. Pretty solid player. And then KJ Hill did a pretty nice job on punt returns last year, besides the one muff. So, but otherwise was pretty sturdy back there in terms of his hands. CJ Beathard, yeah. I mean, I would make sure that if I do sign a third quarterback, it's for very cheap. All right. I'm going to have to figure out how to block people in the chat. That'll be for next time. All right. Anything else? Yeah. So keep an eye on Melvin Ingram. You know, if he stays available and his market is shrinking, Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers go and bring him back on like a really cheap deal. Forrest Lamp has not signed yet, but he is reportedly visited with the Vikings. So, I wouldn't be surprised if he walks. I think it's sort of a situation where the Chargers are trying to revamp this offensive line top to bottom. I think they're sort of coming to terms with the fact that they missed on a lot of these picks. They missed on some of these free agent signings, and it's time to rebuild this thing from the ground up, which is what you're seeing. And they started with the center. They started by getting an all-pro center, and they're building it from there. And I think that's a smart way to do it. Breakout season for K. Murray. Honestly, I'm curious to see how they use Kenneth Murray. I thought the last 4 games of the season, you started to see it all come together for him, especially in coverage, especially defending RPOs and play action. So I'm excited to see what Kenneth Murray can do next season. I don't have a ton of familiarity yet with what every guy's role is going to be, because you can look at what the Rams did last season. But the thing with Brandon Staley is he is going to form and mold his defensive scheme around what his players do well. So I can't look at the Rams film and be like, okay, Kenneth Murray is going to be this player, because his role is going to be different than any other inside linebacker that Brandon Staley coached last year, because he does different things and there's different ways to maximize him. So he's going to be an off-ball linebacker, meaning he's not going to be an edge rusher. He won't be on the line of scrimmage. He's going to be playing off the ball in the interior of the defense. But are there packages where they turn him loose and let him blitz the quarterback? I think that's absolutely possible. Is Murray going to be healthy? Yeah. He put out a YouTube video today. He was fine. He didn't have any sling or anything on his shoulder. So it was also 27 minutes long. I didn't watch the whole thing. All right, guys. We're closing in on an hour. I think we pretty much hit everything. I appreciate the interaction in the chat, guys. This is really great. So, yeah. So let's, first off, for those that are just coming into it, in the description underneath this video, okay, there is a link. Click that link and you get $1 a month subscription to The Athletic. All right. I've been putting out so much content this week. I think I wrote 12 stories this week, but that's the kind of work I do all year round. When the big moments are happening, I'm giving you guys every piece of information. Anybody that was subscribed for the draft last year, I mean, it was everything you could possibly know of the draft. It was possible targets. It was mock drafts. It was positional rankings. It was including and collaborating with our draft expert, Dane Brugler, on Charger-specific stories. So subscribe now. You'll get access to all my free agency content. And then most importantly, for the next month, you'll get all of my draft stuff as we get closer to the draft. You get all my features, all my analysis, all right? And then on Monday, we'll be doing a live chat in The Athletic. It won't be a video chat like this. It'll be written word chat, but you can go in there and send me a question. And anyone that has subscribed to The Athletic, I do them weekly during the season. It's a weekly live chat, okay? And I answer every single question that is sent to me. Sometimes they're supposed to be an hour long. Sometimes I'm in there for an hour and a half, hour 45, because I answer every single question that is sent to me every time, except for that one time where I accidentally refreshed the page. But that was not on purpose. I did that by accident, and I felt horrible about it. I couldn't sleep that night because I felt like I missed some questions. But I care about you. I put in a ton of work to make this subscription worth it. You will not get a better deal than $1 a month. I'm telling you that right now. You will not get a better deal right now or anytime in the future. So that link right there is to my free agency reset. I've been doing them every morning, and you will get access to my top 10 remaining free agents in there. So click the link and subscribe now. I would really appreciate it. Very much so. So last thing before we end this is going to be my last live chat of the week. I was doing this during free agency to try to interact with you guys and bring you guys as much information as I could. So this is not going to be an everyday thing for the whole season because we wouldn't have enough to talk about, and we'd end up talking about my beard and my striped shirts for way too much time. So, and tacos, but that would be great because we all love talking about tacos, don't we? So I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do with this. You guys hit me up on Twitter, okay? Let me know what you think about it. Let me know how often you want me to be doing them. You know, I've seen some people say like, hey, just hop on here in big moments. Like, okay, if there's some news breaks, hop on a live chat. After games, hop on a live chat, but don't do them very frequently. I've seen other people say, hey, we'd like them monthly. I've seen other people say we'd like them weekly. So hit me up on Twitter. I promise you I read every single tweet you send at me. It might not seem like that, but I read every single message. I read every single mention. So send some mentions my way. Let me know what you thought about these this week. Let me know how often we should be doing them. I'm thinking right now in the off season, we'll continue to do them monthly, and I'll kind of just gauge it, like maybe after the first round, I might hop on and do like a quick 30-minute live chat, talk about their pick, talk about my takes on it, all that kind of stuff. Maybe just sort of mix it in at big moments. Once a fortnight, that works. Once every couple weeks. Yeah. So I'm going to figure out what I'm doing, but follow me on Twitter. Obviously you guys already do. I'll keep you updated on what I'm doing with them, but I just want to thank everyone from the bottom of my heart for coming and hanging with me in these every day of the week. I had a ton of fun, and I hope you guys got something out of it. One more time, please subscribe to The Athletic, $1 a month in the description. And, if you have any questions, just hit me up on Twitter. Appreciate you guys.